The Philippines and American imperialism. So for background, after after defeating Spain in the Spanish-American War, the U.S. took control of overseas territories, which were Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. For Filipinos who had already declared independence from Spain, this was not liberation, but a new colonizer. The Philippine-American War broke out in 1899. American leaders defended annexation as a duty to civilize the islands. President William McKinley spoke of teaching Filipinos to govern themselves. There were cartoons and newspapers portraying or depicting them as ignorant children, is basically, who needed Uncle Sam's guidance. Race was very central to this entire argument. Filipinos were described as inferior and unfit for self-rule. These ideas were shaped by how the war was fought. U.S. soldiers used racial slurs, calling Filipinos like the N-word, and several other ones that I will, of course, not repeat. In the eyes of many Americans, the Philippines became a racial frontier where white supremacy was used to justify this domination, the same way that it was being used at home at the time as well. The war was very brutal. Over 200,000 Filipino civilians died from combat, famine, and disease caused by Americans. U.S. troops used torture, such as the infamous water cure, and carried out massacres of entire villages. As historian Paul Kramer argues, this was not just a colonial war, but a race war, where dehumanization fueled violence. They obviously resisted. Despite overwhelming force, Filipinos did resist. Under Emilio Aguinaldo, I apologize if I'm butchering his name. That's my best pronunciation. Fighters waged guerrilla war for independence. They drew on the same principles that the U.S. claimed to uphold: freedom, sovereignty, and self-determination. Their struggle highlighted the contradiction at the heart of American policy. Of course, not all Americans supported the war. Anti-imperialist league with figures like Mark Twain and W.B. Du Bois denounced U.S. actions as racist and hypocritical. Twain wrote that America was not spreading liberty, it was chaining liberty's idol to a conqueror's chariot. Their voices remind us that there was dissent against empire from the start. Consequences. The war officially ended in 1902, but the United States ruled the Philippines until 1946, well over 40 years later. For decades, U.S. officials governed the islands as a colony, reinforcing racial hierarchies in education, politics, and culture. You can see this. You can see this still in I apologize. In skin tone favoritism and different cultural aspects that the U.S. left behind. The war left deep scars, both just in the Philippines in that way and many other ways, and also how the United States viewed itself as a global power. Today, the Philippine-American War is often forgotten in U.S. history, but it's very essential in revealing how race and imperialism shaped America's rise as a world power. It's not just based upon democracy. We have a heavy we have a heavy value of race as well, which is certainly a big aspect here. The racial logic of empire, seeing non-white peoples as needing control, continues to show in debates about U.S. foreign policy today.